Watchers, what's up? Chef Tom here. I have a question for you. What has 5 baby mamas that are all a different color and a different flavor? Having a little trouble guessing? I'll tell you, it's sauces. And that's what we're going to talk about in part 2 of our 5-part series on cooking fundamentals. We're going to go over the 5 basic mother sauces today, and we're also going to create some different sauces that people like to use. And I've even gone to some of my friends on some of the Facebook groups I'm in. And if you're watching on Instagram TV, hey, I'm glad you're here too. So I've gone to them and they've decided, well, chef, why don't we like to learn this sauce or this sauce? And you know what? We're going to take care of them. So fasten your seatbelts, guys. It's time to watch me cook. Hey, Maestro, you know the drill. Hit my music.
I'm Tom Dickinson. As a young boy, I was diagnosed on the autism spectrum disorder and told that I would not accomplish a lot. But I never let that stop me because I used 2 words. Watch me. I'm a professional chef. I'm also a fully credentialed school teacher. And I'm a 2-time cookbook author. So join me as we meet some really interesting people, cook some amazing food, and prove that just because you have a diagnosis doesn't mean you can't accomplish great things. So what are you guys waiting for? It's time to watch me cook.
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram TV. Welcome to this episode of Watch Me Cook. If you're watching our program for the first time, I am Chef Tom Dickinson. I'm your host today, and today we are talking about sauces. One of my favorite things. Sauces are the vessel that bring a meal together. It's a humongously great component to any meal you prepare, whether it be breakfast, lunch, dinner, or dessert. Any course, a good sauce will take you a long ways. When I was in culinary school, one of the toughest stations I had was the saucier station because there was always a lot to do, a lot of components. But you know what? It's okay. And today, we are going to talk about sauces. I recently asked some of my friends on a couple of the face groups I'm in, one of them being YouTube cooking creators. Hey, Philip, giving you a shout out, man. So, I asked him, what kind of sauces would you want to learn? Some people said bechamel. Some people said remoulade. I personally believe that everybody should know how to make a basic tomato sauce. So, on the menu today, we're going to do a basic tomato sauce. We're going to use all fresh tomatoes, nothing out of a can. And for my other sauce, we're going to do a bechamel sauce, which is one of the mother sauces, along with tomato sauce is a mother sauce as well. And we're going to do a chicken cordon bleu with a whole grain mustard and mozzarella bechamel. But you know what? We're going to make this Chef Tom style, and I'm going to do a grilled chicken cordon bleu. Got the idea from a chef I saw on TV. I thought, hey, cool, let's try it. So, first things first, let's get our mies. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to make a basic tomato sauce using tomatoes, basil, garlic. Call it a classic Pomodoro sauce. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take some fresh tomatoes. We're going to cut some slices at the ends of them. We're going to put them in some boiling water, cool them down really fast so we can peel the skins off. This technique is called concasse. And then we're going to take and squeeze the seeds out of the tomatoes, save some of that juice for later if we need it, and then we're going to cook these tomatoes down into a beautiful, rich tomato sauce. Plus add a little spice as well. So let's get to it.
Fill up a pot with water and get it on the stove ready to go. Season your water with salt and bring it up to a full rolling boil on high heat. Get your tomatoes and wash them thoroughly, cutting crisscross patterns in the bottoms of them. Once your water's at a full rolling boil, add the tomatoes to your water and let them boil for a few minutes. The skins should come apart very easily. If you need to, boil them a little longer. Some tomatoes might not be ripe enough, so go ahead and take your time. When your tomatoes have been cooking enough and the skins are starting to come off of them, Take your pot off the stove and start straining out your tomatoes in a colander. As you can see, the water's hot, so please be careful. As soon as the tomatoes hit the colander, start cooling them down with cold water and make sure that you've stopped the cooking process.
Now it's time to start making some sauce.
Using a knife, start peeling the skins off of your tomatoes and then start squeezing the juice out. These should be pretty easy to do, and make sure that your tomatoes are cooled down. Important tip, make sure you have a bowl underneath you to make sure to catch all that juice, and make sure your colander is fine enough to catch all the seeds. I'm going to use the same pot I blanched the tomatoes in. Now I'm going to add a little bit of oil and start cranking the heat up to high. Then I'm going to add my tomatoes and make sure that they're seasoned, because the secret to making a great tomato sauce is a hot pan. As you can see, I'm using Himalayan pink salt, and I'm adding a lot of coarse ground black pepper because it's going to taste good. Using a whisk, start mashing your tomatoes down so they'll cook a lot faster, and once they're mashed down, start getting them to reduce because it will concentrate the flavor and caramelize all the natural sugar in your tomatoes and taste awesome. For a little extra flavor, I'm going to add a teaspoon of sriracha just to add some heat. I don't want too much heat in this sauce, but I want a little underlying flavor because everybody in this house, we like the heat in our food. While my sauce is simmering, I'm going to crush 3 cloves of garlic. Now you're probably thinking, why didn't I put that in the first place? Well, I knew this was going to take a long time to cook and I didn't want the garlic to burn. So I'm going to put it in last so it doesn't burn and we can round out the flavor. Alright, the garlic's in, it's simmering, it's infusing into that sauce. Time to wash my basil. I'm using a live basil plant and I actually have it in a cup and I have it on my countertop to grow. So I'm washing my basil and now I'm just going to pick the leaves off and add a few of them to my sauce. So here we go. My sauce is almost done, and now I'm going to add the basil leaves to there, and I just want to fold them in the last minute, and right now I'm going to cut off the heat and let that basil carry over cook. When my sauce is cooled down, I'm going to put it in a storage container and I'm going to use it for another day because now I'm going to start working on tonight's dinner for the family, which is my chicken cordon bleu. But this is a great sauce. It's very simple. I recommend make it sometime. Alright, let's make some chicken cordon bleu. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up my cauliflower. And second, I'm going to take my cauliflower with my knife. I'm going to cut it down into florets. And I'm going to get it ready. And I'm actually going to roast my cauliflower. I'm going to get it on a sheet pan. I'm adding some oil. And I'm going to season with salt and black pepper. And I'm going to get it in the oven. And it's going to be delicious. And while that's cooking, let's prep our chicken. Here I have 4 slices of Gruyere cheese and I have about 2 or 3 slices of ham, and as you can see I'm making small little packages. And right here with the chicken breast I'm cutting the side and making a pocket with my knife, and I'm going to stuff the cheese and the ham inside the chicken to make my cordon bleu. As you know, cordon bleu means blue ribbon in French, so technically this is blue ribbon chicken and it's gonna be great. My chicken's done, and as always, I never ever forget to season. And I love using Himalayan pink salt. It's healthier. So I decided I'm going to grill this chicken instead of bread it and fry it. So I'm getting my grill pan on the stove and getting it hot. And once my grill pan is hot, I'm going to add some oil to it. And I'm going to let that oil just sit there. I'm going to let it season the pan. And I'm just going to wait for my cast iron grill pan to get nice and hot so I can cook this chicken.
Now my whole purpose for putting this chicken on the grill pan is I want to sear this chicken, and then I'm going to finish it in a 400-degree oven and cook it until the internal temperature is 165 degrees. As you can see there, my chicken's cooking. It looks good. I seasoned it on one side, and now I'm seasoning on the other to make sure it's evenly seasoned on both sides. Chicken's looking good. I'm leaving it alone. I'm not messing with it, and I've rotated it so it can get a nice grill mark on both sides. Here you can see I'm flipping the chicken over and making sure I get a nice sear on both sides before I put it in the oven to finish cooking it. It's gonna be good! Here we are up close. Our chicken's looking really good, and it looks like we're gonna get ready to pull these off and finish cooking our birds. Alright, let's get this chicken finished cooking. We took 2 off and we got 2 brand new ones on. Here I am rotating these to make sure we get nice even grill marks on both sides. And here we are, I'm flipping this one over again. And these are the last 2, and now they're going to go on a foiled sheet pan in a 400-degree oven for probably about 15 to 20 minutes, or like I said, until the internal temperature is 165 degrees Fahrenheit. So make sure you remember that. Alright, chicken's in the oven. Now let's work on our whole grain mustard and mozzarella bechamel sauce. Let's get to it. First, we're going to start off with 2 tablespoons of butter. Get them into a medium-high heated pan and start getting it melted. As soon as the butter's melted, I'm going to add 2 cloves of chopped garlic and add it so we can have a little aromatics in our sauce. It's going to be good. After that, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to start making my roux. And a roux, as you know, is a thickener, and it's going to give our sauce some body. But I don't want too much roux because I want to make sure that my sauce doesn't get clogged, because I'm going to add some mozzarella cheese at the end. So here we are mixing our roux, and we're going to keep it a white roux and try not to get any color on it. Right now our roux is at a nice consistency, so I'm adding the heavy cream. I'm going to make sure that I get all the lumps out of it to make sure that we have a nice, consistent, smooth sauce. It's going to be delicious. One of the things you can do to avoid lumps in your sauce is to use a whisk and make sure you use it thoroughly. Alright, our sauce is at a nice simmer. It's a nice consistency. Right now I'm adding about 2 to 3 teaspoons of whole grain mustard to the sauce because I want to give it that little bit of bite to it. And whole grain mustard in a cream sauce is absolutely delicious. Our sauce is at a nice consistency. Now it's time to add some mozzarella cheese and start whisking it together. So sometimes your sauce can get a little thick, so what I do is I use some chicken broth to thin it out a little bit. Plus, chicken broth has a lot of flavor, and if you add chicken broth to your sauce, it will fortify the flavor of it and bring out the umami of it. It's going to be awesome. And as you can see, our sauce is at a nice consistency. It looks good. I'm going to season it with a little Himalayan pink salt, and it looks like it's ready to go. Ah, that looks great. Look at the consistency of it, nice and smooth. I'm pretty happy with this.
All right, let's bring this meal together. Cauliflower's done. My chicken's out. It's temped at 165. It looks good. And bon appetit. Order up.
All right, watchers, we're at that time again. The food looks delicious, and we covered 2 key sauces out of the 5 mother sauces. And you know what? It was a great day. But one thing I want you to remember, and yeah, I'm talking to you. You are amazing. You are a wonderful person. And there are going to be times in life where people are going to tell you that you can't do something. That's when I want you to look them in the face, and I want you to tell them, watch me. Watch me do this. Watch me accomplish this. Watch me prove you wrong. Take my example, for instance. I was diagnosed with autism. I was told I couldn't do a lot of stuff, but you know what? I just said, watch me, and they watched me accomplish a lot of great things. And I want you to do the same too. So you know what? Get out of here. Go be awesome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.